So, Modern Warfare 2 is officially through its launch week, and now we're pushing further into week 2. Today, however, Infinity Ward put out a blog post and patch notes detailing what all has changed the last few days and what we can look forward to in the upcoming future. Today, we're breaking that all down so that you're in the know of what's happened, what will happen, and everything in between. So as we go along, drop your thoughts below. What would you hope to see ahead of Season 1, or perhaps with Season 1? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2. There's still a lot up on deck here in regards to Modern Warfare 2 launch content, but also as we gear up towards Warzone 2 and DMZ. We're now chasing down 600,000 subscribers, so if you're in that over 70% of viewers who are not subscribed, I'd love to have you in the community. Let's see how far we can push before Warzone 2 and DMZ's launch. But for now, let's jump into the update at hand. Over on their website, Infinity Ward put up a blog post stating Modern Warfare 2 Community Update, Week 1 patch notes, in which they firstly started by saying, hey, thanks for playing, it's been a fun week, we're glad you guys got your hands on the game, all that kind of stuff that you kind of do as an introductory note here at this. But then they started going into some details about what has been changed already and some things they're aware of and with fixes upcoming, as well as some of the stuff that we just saw recently in the last 24 hours. So running down all of that, they firstly started by stating the general updates where they addressed a number of crashing issues affecting players of all platforms, including bugs that caused certain players that were partied up in matchmaking to crash. Last night's update was actually part of that to provide additional stability in terms of crashing. If you got that update and you were playing as of it going out, you might have actually been locked out of MP for a couple of minutes. That was something that was an inadvertent effect of that update, but that was fixed out relatively quickly. But they stated they're continuing to monitor everything to go on and that they have more stability stuff coming inbound. They've also mentioned some of the fixes they saw for various camos not unlocking during progression, frame drop issues, freezing issues, overall performance improvements, and fixes to combat stuttering and lag issues. Now, obviously, that stuff is still always a work in progress. I'm sure that you definitely have played some today, later tonight, whenever you watch this video, perhaps, that you're still experiencing at least some of these. Right now, it's not entirely ironed out, but the progress and the strides are being made here to get that all taken care of. On the PC side of things, they stated that a recent NVIDIA hotfix addressed some critical issues, and they stated the drivers you want to be on if you have an NVIDIA GPU is 526.61. And additionally, that the PC benchmark map has been updated with more accurate readings for the FPS display. As for weaponry, this is something that is our first little, hey, we're going to come back to it type of deal that they give us, where they said we're actively collecting weapon performance and usage data and will provide detailed updates on weapon balancing with the launch of Season 1. They ended up also stating that last week they disabled the attachment tuning. We talked about that, which was a terrible time for that update to go out because it was like the day after we put up our guide on attachment tuning. And so that video as of recently has just been, hey, why can't I tune my attachments? I got the pop-up that I can, but in Gunsmith, I can't do it. But for further reiteration, that was something that was disabled temporarily because it was linked to crashing issues for the game application. So while that's getting ironed out, weapon tuning unfortunately is not available. I kind of want to say though, you really aren't missing a whole ton. As we detailed in that breakdown of weapon tuning, there's really not a ton that makes or breaks weapon builds. If you really want substantial changes for attributes, it really just comes down to changing the attachment overall. In the multiplayer end of things, they ended up detailing once again that the enemy or live ping situation was disabled temporarily and will remain disabled in multiplayer until a fix is implemented with the launch of Season 1. So right now, if you're missing that ping feature you had in the beta and then also the first day or two of launch, that's something you won't see for another 2 weeks or so at this point. Again, that being linked to another bug. This one though kind of giving wall hacks, because if you were in that animation right after you died before you respawned, you could ping an enemy and then that would end up giving them a live ping for your entire team to see the entirety of that player's life, maybe match. I didn't experience it myself, but it was something that gave real-time live pings of where a player was, and it didn't go away after the 2 to 3 seconds that it's supposed to. Now, beyond that, they also stated they fixed an issue where the player icon on the minimap would no longer disappear after a player is revived in certain modes. As for maps and playlists, they ended up stating that they added Greenberg Hotel into third-person mosh pit, but that there are also no significant map changes just yet. They stated they patched a various number of exploits and geometry bugs in the days since launch, but major map tuning, none of that has been added just yet. Beyond that, we also have a tease here, it seems like, for the user interface and user experience, where they stated we continue to refine our UI and we'll have more details in the Season 1 launch notes. They finally rounded out these patch notes by stating a couple of things that they were working on and we'll see patched out here in the next couple of days, including things like the riot shield providing invincibility against chopper gunners and VTOLs. That's a bug where if you have a riot shield, you take some damage from a VTOL or a chopper gunner and you live. I'm pretty sure that that gives you invincibility for the entire game. I've seen a couple of clips of this already tweeted at me, and without any context, that's kind of what I'm expecting that situation to be. But if you don't know about that bug, it definitely seems like these guys just have God mode. They also mentioned the DDoS field upgrade had an availability bug, and finally, a bug affecting the helicopter height, which allows them to leave the map in some instances. Now beyond that, that's the patch notes that we had here for the first week or so. They detailed a little bit as to what's upcoming, but we'll touch on that in just a second. My first overall thoughts, though, in regards to these patch notes and what we've seen this past week is that I'm glad things are being monitored and adjusted where issues persist, especially on that game-breaking side of things. Are those sort of things immediate? Absolutely not. Obviously, we're still crashing, we're still getting fixes out there a week later, but when you consider how much of a house of cards game dev is, it's nice to see these strides being made as fast as possible that don't further break the game. If you try and rush out an update that is something that is attempting to mitigate stability and it's not quite to where it wants to be, it could quite literally break the game, crash the game further, or potentially, in some cases, not even allow it to boot. So I think we saw that happen once or twice in the last couple of years, if my memory serves me correctly. Maybe I'm just crazy on that, but it's nice to see strides at least being made. Personally, I wish that we'd see a bit more communication, and I know that sounds kind of weird, kind of strange to say, because we're only a week in, but when you consider how many things were discussion worthy out of the first week, it feels like it should have warranted a bit more of, even if just on the level of a tweet saying, hey, we're aware of this, a fix is inbound. So looking forward to seeing what is upcoming. I will say it's definitely kind of weird from covering Call of Duty the last 10 years or so here, that every single launch in that first week or so, we usually have a title update, something that's a major patch that goes out here with this. But this year, and I don't remember if Vanguard did or not, but it's weird to not see that after, again, so many years of kind of following the same mold. But beyond that, what's next? Season 1 is mentioned a few times in this blog. For the sake of updates and content, now that we don't see any real sort of urgency to make any major changes to things in the game at the moment, and with hints towards Season 1, I kind of think that's going to be our first real major title update that we'll have here. Obviously, we might get some things patched into the game via hotfix or anything like that, but in terms of downloadable updates itself, I think this is going to be the biggest one that we'll see here beyond what we've seen so far, with things obviously like content and such, but also that's when I'd expect to see our first batch of like weapon tuning, perhaps some mode adjustments and changes. Those UI changes are hinted at here for this, so there's definitely stuff on the horizon, but at what sense of urgency we'll get there, we'll have to wait and see. But with Season 1 being mentioned so much, kind of thinking those bigger things are going to be reserved for that point. Beyond that though, Warzone 2 and DMZ look to have more intel dropping, air quote, coming soon. That should almost be trademarked in the Call of Duty franchise. Coming soon is something that is always said, even though it could be something that's weeks down the line. But obviously, with DMZ and Warzone 2 launching in just under 2 weeks, we will start seeing that kind of stuff. So I'd imagine next week we start seeing some teasers here, maybe some first information in regards to Al Mazrah, Warzone 2, and DMZ and stuff like that, but there is definitely more on the horizon. We have 2 major launch windows within a month of each other, so there's a lot still upcoming here. But for now, that's what we're going to call it. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of this update? Like it, dislike it, think it was a decent bit? Do you think it wasn't enough? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 2. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.